The vast conference hall aboard the Federation's flagship, Aurelius, buzzed with quiet confidence. Commanders from a dozen allied species gathered, their eyes fixed on the massive holoscreen floating in the center. The image displayed the war-torn landscape of a simulated battlefield, a test ground designed to push the limits of human soldiers. This year's rite of obliteration will be decisive, General Cottrell hissed, his four eyes narrowing as he scanned the roster of participants. We have arranged every conceivable hazard. Their teams will face overwhelming enemy numbers, unpredictable terrain, electronic warfare, and psychological manipulation. This test is to confirm what we already know. Humans cannot endure the chaos of true combat. Cottrell's tone was laced with contempt, shared by the elite crowd. For decades, the Galactic Federation had contained humanity within a few star systems, deeming them a primitive and fragile species. Their emotional volatility and unpredictable nature were liabilities. The rite was meant to cement that belief, a brutal simulation designed to break the human spirit. They'll fail, whispered Commander Olin, a sleek amphibious species native to the underwater world of Virek IV. They always do. The humans, however, were silent. Their representatives sat apart, calm and unshaken. Captain Elena Reyes, a seasoned veteran of 30 campaigns, scanned the holoscreen with a steady gaze. She knew this was no ordinary drill. The Federation wanted to crush them, to make an example of humanity's inadequacy. But Elena and her team were ready. Years of guerrilla warfare against raiders, survival in hostile colonies, and battles against superior technology had hardened them beyond the Federation's understanding. As the command sounded, the simulation field erupted in chaos. Explosions rocked virtual terrain. Swarms of drones swirled through thick forests. Electronic pulses scrambled communication. Command centers were besieged by waves of enemy combatants, all generated by the Federation's most advanced war algorithms. Human squads moved with deliberate precision, shadows among shadows. They didn't panic, they adapted, they improvised. When ambushed, they countered with unexpected flares of ingenuity. When trapped, they found new paths. The Federation's commanders exchanged uneasy glances. Reports flooded in. Humans held position against impossible odds. Casualties were minimal. Morale remained unbroken. In some sectors, humans advanced, pressing the offensive rather than retreating. They're treating this like a warm-up, Olin muttered, disbelief thick in his voice. General Cottrell slammed his fist against the holoscreen. No, this is impossible. They should be breaking. Elena's voice cut through the tension as her team transmitted a calm message. We've stabilized Sector Delta. Reinforcements ready, awaiting further orders. Her words echoed far beyond the simulated battlefield, a statement of intent. Humanity was not here to fail. They were here to survive, to endure, to fight, and to win. The simulated battlefield was a crucible designed to melt the human will, a relentless storm of fire, steel, and shadows. The Federation's finest units, engineered for perfection, trained in ruthless efficiency, expected to crush their human adversaries in days. Instead, they found themselves facing something far more dangerous, an unyielding, unpredictable force. Captain Elena Reyes crouched behind a crumbled wall, her squad breathing silently, synchronized like a single organism. The air was thick with smoke and tension. Explosions punctuated the eerie quiet. This was the Federation's test, the rite of obliteration, a trial so vicious it had broken every species that dared enter it. But not these humans. Across the ravaged terrain, automated turrets scanned for movement. Trap zones blinked with lethal energy fields designed to isolate and incinerate any trespasser. Psychological warfare systems flooded minds with fear-inducing stimuli, simulating loss and hopelessness. Still, Elena's squad moved forward. They communicated through subtle hand signals, trusted instincts honed in countless real battles where lives hung in the balance. Their tech was basic compared to Federation elites, but they relied on creativity, teamwork, and a stubborn refusal to surrender. "Sector Charlie is a kill zone," whispered Lieutenant Rafe, eyes darting for threats. "Electronic jamming's cutting comms." Elena nodded. "Fallback plan Delta, signal with flares. We split and converge at Echo Point." Moments later, the squad dissolved into shadows, moving like ghosts through tangled ruins. Enemy drones swarmed, searching relentlessly, but the humans were already adapting, using decoys, creating false trails, and exploiting blind spots in the Federation's algorithms. The enemy was precise, efficient, deadly, yet the humans remained elusive, turning ambushes into counterattacks, traps into avenues of advance. In a distant command center, Federation officers watched with growing alarm. Reports flowed in. Human units were outmaneuvering elite squads, disabling drones with improvised EMPs, even hacking Federation sensor grids with makeshift devices. "This isn't a fight, it's a lesson," muttered Cottrell. "They're rewriting the rules." Meanwhile, back on the field, Elena's team regrouped at Echo Point, faces grim but unbroken. "We've lost 2, Rafe reported, voice steady. "But we took out 4 enemy squads." Elena's eyes burned with quiet fire. "This isn't just survival, it's a message. We're not the weak species they think we are." Her words were met with nods. Every kill, every maneuver, every breath drawn under fire was a step toward proving that humanity was not a fragile relic in the galaxy, but a force of endurance and cunning. The Federation's test was meant to crush them. Instead, it had become their warm-up. And the real war had yet to begin. Yet the Federation's command deck was thick with unease. Monitors flickered with live feeds from the simulation zones, but the picture was no longer favorable. Humanity's soldiers had stopped reacting. They were anticipating, predicting, mastering the chaos. General K-Trail slammed his clawed fist onto the console. "They're not just surviving, they're dominating." "How?" Commander Olin leaned forward, his amphibious skin pale with disbelief. "Their tactics. They defy logic. They anticipate our strikes before they happen, adapt faster than any known species. It's as if they learn in real time." Cottrell gritted his teeth. This was supposed to break them. Instead, they are turning it into a showcase of human tenacity. On the field, Captain Elena Reyes led her squad through the ruins of what was once a bustling command outpost. They moved swiftly, silently, shadows in the rubble. The humans had suffered losses, but their spirit was unbroken. In fact, it burned brighter. A drone swarm descended, sensors glowing red as they locked on targets. But Elena's squad was ready. She gave the signal. In unison, the humans detonated a series of homemade EMP charges, scavenged and modified tech jury-rigged from previous skirmishes. The drone swarm flickered, then fell from the sky like rain. "Move up," Elena commanded. They advanced, pushing into the heart of the enemy lines. Meanwhile, across the Federation's war room, murmurs grew into whispers. "Could they actually be stronger than us?" one officer asked. "Stronger than any other species in the Federation?" The notion was unthinkable, yet undeniable. The humans had not just passed the test, they had turned the tide. Other species began to observe more closely, some even taking notes on human tactics, impressed despite themselves. In one sector, a veteran human sharpshooter, Private Malik, crouched atop a ruined tower. Through his scope, he spotted a high-ranking Federation officer coordinating strikes. Malik exhaled slowly, finger steady. "Target acquired," he whispered. The shot rang out, precise and lethal. Cheers erupted from the human command unit. Back on the Aurelius, Cottrell faced a brutal truth. Humanity was no longer the weak link. They had endured the rite of obliteration, not as victims, but as victors. Elena's voice crackled over the comms, calm and resolute. "Federation test or not, we are ready for what's next, the real war, and we will not just survive, we will prevail." Cottrell's jaw tightened. The test had ended, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. The simulation ended not with fanfare, but with stunned silence. General K-Trial stood rigid as the final report scrolled across the hollow screen. The humans had not only passed the rite of obliteration, they had shattered its very purpose. Their forces remained cohesive, unbroken, and striking back with a ferocity and cunning the Federation had never witnessed. The room was filled with mixed reactions. Some commanders glared, unwilling to accept the results. Others whispered in disbelief, but none could deny the truth. Captain Elena Reyes stood among her team, the glow of the communication console painting her face. Her voice was steady but filled with quiet pride as she transmitted the debrief. "We did what was expected to be impossible. We survived the test designed to crush us. We turned their weapons into tools for our victory, and we did not stop there." Her words echoed beyond the simulation. They reverberated through every human colony, every outpost, every soldier's heart. For years, the Federation had treated humanity as a liability, an unpredictable, fragile species destined to remain confined. But that illusion had been shattered. "Prepare for the next phase," Elena commanded. "If this was their test, then the real fight is coming, and we'll meet it not as victims, but as champions." Back in the Federation's war room, General Cottrell composed himself, though his mind raced. This was not defeat, at least not yet, but it was a warning. Humans were stronger, smarter, and more resilient than anyone had anticipated. They fought not just with weapons, Cottrell admitted bitterly, but with heart, with spirit, with an unyielding will that no algorithm can predict. Whispers began among the allied species, a grudging respect, a new wariness. The humans were no longer the species to be dismissed. They were a force that had earned their place in the galaxy through sheer determination and courage. On board the Nexus, a human transport bound for the frontier, Elena looked out at the stars. Each light was a potential battleground, a new challenge, a future waiting to be forged. She smiled, knowing one thing for certain. The Federation's test had been just the beginning. Humanity was ready,